Mangwanani Malelepo Vukenjani Kekwas Vanave Africa. Thank you for starting your week with Africa. Good morning. The news and current affairs show bringing you everything you need to know happening in the SADC region and beyond. As usual, you're joined by Ashwin Berry and Aina Raiza Kweyo.
Happy Monday, everyone. Today is the World Hello Day. This may sound extremely basic as it encourages us to take the opportunity to simply greet people and to recognize how important simple communication is in our daily lives. A few things are as important as greeting someone or even strangers by simply just saying hello. So hello, and here is more on Hello Day. Welcome back to Africa. Good morning, and here are the news making headline. Sudan's military to reinstate PM Hamdok after deal. Sudan's military plan to reinstate Prime Minister Abdallah Hamdok and release all political detainees under a deal to end weeks of the unrest. The head of one of the country's main political parties told Reuters on Sunday. Hamdok was placed under house arrest when the military seized power on the 25th of October, derailing a transition towards democracy agreed after the overthrow of Omar al-Bashir in 2019 that ended his 3 decades of autocratic rule. Under the new agreement between the military and civilian political parties, Hamdok will form an independent cabinet of technocrats, said Fadala Ben Nasir, the head of the Umma party, who attended the talks that led to the deal. Sudan's Sovereign Council, which was formed in 2019, will hold an urgent meeting on Sunday before announcing the agreement, a source with knowledge of the talks said. A source close to Hamdok said he was on board with the new deal. The media advisor of military leader Abdel Fattah al-Burhan could not be immediately reached for comment.
Now in our second story, Blinken says U.S. investing in Africa without unsustainable debt. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said on Saturday his country was investing in Africa without imposing unsustainable levels of debt as he witnessed the signing of contracts worth more than $1 billion in Senegal's capital, Dakar. Careful not to directly criticize Chinese infrastructure projects which have proliferated across the continent in the past decade, Blinken said during a visit to Nigeria on Friday that international deals were too often opaque and coercive. The U.S. is investing without saddling the country with a debt that it cannot handle, he said during the signing ceremony with Senegal's economy minister Amadou Hott. Now, during a visit to Dakar's Institute Pasteur Biomedical Research Center, Blinken said the United States was working with partners to generate more financing for vaccine manufacturing in Senegal. In October, BioNTech signed an agreement with the Institute Pasteur de Dakar and the Rwandan government to construct the first mRNA vaccine facilities in Africa starting mid-22.
Ethiopia's conflict, mass arrest and ethnic profiling haunts Addis Ababa. The arrest of 2 prominent professors in Ethiopia's capital has given new focus to allegations that the authorities are engaged in a ruthless crackdown against ethnic Tigrayan civilians as the country plunges deeper into conflict that began over a year ago in the northern state of Tigray. Although there has been no official confirmation of their arrest, multiple sources have told the BBC they were detained by the security forces for allegedly breaching the terms of Ethiopia's state of emergency, which was imposed as Tigrayan forces advanced towards the capital earlier this month. Speaking by phone, Family friends who confirmed the Tigrayan professor's arrest sounded fearful, anxious to remain anonymous in case they too face detention in a country where, according to local and international human rights groups, at least 1,000 Tigrayan and possibly many more have been arrested in recent days. Ethiopian officials have defended the crackdown. The head of the Ethiopian Government Communication Office, Legis Tulu, told local media that the arrests made under the state of emergency were not based on the ethnic identities of individuals.
Malawi police fired tear gas at anti-government protesters. We are into the second year and there are still no jobs. The promise of 3 meals a day has failed to materialize, and instead, prices of fuel, food and cooking oil have skyrocketed. Bonnie Kalindo, a former legislator who led the protests, told Reuters. Friday's protests turned violent as a pro-government group also moved in to stop the march across the city, a Reuters correspondent said. Some businesses and government buildings were closed as a result. Government and police spokespeople were not immediately available for comment. Chakwera in June 2020 unseated former leader Peter Mutharika in a rerun election after he pledged to curb corruption and rebuild the ailing economy. Soaring food prices have raised concerns about social unrest in some countries as consumers struggle with the higher cost of living in the aftermath of the COVID-19 pandemic. Malawi's consumer price inflation rose to 9.8% year-on-year in October from 8.9% in September.
Ethiopia hails return of looted artifacts. Ethiopia on Saturday held the return of precious artifacts looted by British soldiers more than 150 years ago after a long campaign for their reinstitutions. The collection recovered by Britain, Belgium and Netherlands include a ceremonial crown, an imperial shield, a set of silver embossed horns, drinking cups, and handwritten prayer book, cross and a necklace. The most of the items were plundered by the British Army after it defeated Emperor Theodorus II in the Battle of Magdala in 1868 in what was then Abyssinia. The treasures were unwrapped before the media at Ethiopia's National Museum on Saturday, more than 2 months after they were formally handed over at the ceremony in London in September. Ethiopia said it was the largest such repatriation of artifacts of the country, with its ambassador to Britain, Terefe Malis, describing it as a huge significance. The Ethiopian government is still fighting for Britain to return other stolen artifacts, including sacred wooden and stone tablets or tablets, which represent the Ark of the Covenant. Ethiopia, one of the world's oldest countries with rich and ancient cultural and religious heritage, has said it considers the ransacking of the Magdala as a great injustice, that it has been a thorn in relations with Britain.
Hashtag bring back our things. In the next story, Congo president demands audit of mining registry to fight fraud. Democratic Republic of Congo President Felix Tshisekedi has demanded a ban on issuing and trading mining permits until the country's mining registry has been audited, a measure aimed at combating fraud within the sector. Tshisekedi told ministers he wanted to end the squandering of mining assets by unnamed political actors and officials involved in the administration of the mining register, which records mining concessions, according to minutes of the meeting seen by Reuters. The move is an escalation of Tshisekedi's ongoing review of deals struck by his predecessor Joseph Kabila, which includes a $6 billion infrastructure for minerals deal with Chinese investors. Transparency activists have estimated Congo has lost out on billions of dollars of revenue from mining deals over the past 2 decades.
Uganda to vaccinate the entire adult population against COVID-19. Uganda on Saturday said it is aiming to vaccinate the entire adult population against COVID-19 ahead of the full reopening of the country's economy early next year. In a televised address about the country's COVID-19 situation, President Yoweri Museveni said his government has expanded its target population for COVID-19 vaccination from the original priority group, such as healthcare workers, to all adults. The move comes after the country has stocked up more vaccines, Museveni said, adding that the government is going to study COVID-19 vaccination for children. According to the health ministry, the country has so far received more than 15 million COVID-19 vaccine doses. By Saturday, 6 million people have been vaccinated against the virus. Since the outbreak of the pandemic, the East African nation has registered at least 127,000 infections, 97,000 recoveries from the virus, and 3,247 related deaths.
Uganda's Kampala bombings. Muslim cleric accused of jihadist links shot dead. Security forces in Uganda have shot dead a Muslim cleric accused of working with an armed group linked to suicide bombings in the capital, Kampala. Officials said Sheikh Mohammed Abbas Kirevu had recruited for cells run by the Allied Democratic Forces rebels who have pledged allegiance to the Islamic State group. He was killed just outside Kampala. At least 4 people were killed by attackers on motorbikes who blew themselves up in the city on Tuesday. Police spokesperson Fred Enanga said 13 suspects, including several children, were intercepted while trying to cross the border into DR Congo. On Wednesday, 4 suspected ADF operatives were killed near the border. A manhunt is also underway for another cleric, Sheikh Suleiman Ntubuga, who is accused of training terrorists, radicalizing potential recruits, and providing materials to make improvised explosive devices. The bombings on Tuesday marked the biggest attack the ADF has been linked to in Uganda since establishing relations with IS.
Somali journalist Abdiaziz Mohamud Guled killed in suicide attack. A prominent Somali journalist who was a critic of the Islamist militant group Al-Shabaab has been killed in a suicide bomb attack in the capital, Mogadishu. Abdiaziz Mohamud Guled, also known as Abdiaziz Africa, was targeted as he was leaving a restaurant in the city shortly after midday. Al-Shabaab said it was behind the attack and had targeted the journalist who worked for Radio Mogadishu. The bomber detonated a device in front of a car near the restaurant where Guled was accompanied by the director of Somali National Television and a driver, according to a report published on the official Radio Mogadishu website, citing police sources. Al-Shabaab, which means the youth in Arabic, is an extreme Islamist group which has been battling UN-backed government troops for more than a decade. The jihadists controlled the capital Mogadishu until 2011, when it was pushed out by the African Union troops, but it still holds a territory in the countryside and launches frequent attacks against government and civilian targets in Mogadishu and everywhere else. It advocates for strict Sunni-inspired Wahhabi version of Islam, while most Somalis are Sufis. It has imposed a harsh version of Sharia in areas under its control, including stoning to death women accused of adultery and amputating the hands of thieves.
Now, in the last of our top stories, over 75 migrants drown off Libyan coast. The International Organization for Migration, IOM, on Saturday said more than 75 irregular migrants have drowned at sea off the coast of western Libya while trying to reach Europe. Over 75 migrants drowned on Wednesday after departing from Libya, according to 15 survivors rescued by fishermen and brought to Zwara, IOM tweeted. This latest tragedy brings the number of lives lost in the central Mediterranean this year to over 1,300, IOM said. Libya has been suffering insecurity and chaos since the fall of the late leader Muammar Gaddafi in 2011, making the North African country a preferred point of departure for migrants who want to cross the Mediterranean Sea to European shores. All right, that brings us to the end of our top stories. After the break, we'll be talking about Fly Namibia. Stick around.
Win instant cash this spring with Top Score Instant. To enter, buy any new pack of Top Score Instant 1 kg or 500 grams from any store countrywide and stand a chance to win one of 2 grand prizes of $20,000 Namibian or one of 12 weekly prizes of $5,000 Namibian. SMS Instant to 24442. Competition ends 30 November 2021. T's and C's apply. Top Score Instant, a proud product of Namib Mills.
Now, Fly Namibia, formerly West Air, is an independent airline that prides itself in connecting people through local and regional flights, whether for business or travel purposes. Namibia Media Holdings' Yolanda Nell talks about the airline's future plans with Maya Shimwino. Have a look.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're joined with Maya, and I want to say she's from West Air, but now she's from Fly Namibia.
That's correct.
Maya, you've just undergone rebranding here. Can you quickly tell us how long has West Air been operational since before the name change now?
Okay. West Air Aviation has been operational since 1967. That's how long we've been in operation.
And is this the first time the name has changed?
This is the first time that we're actually rebranding, yes.
Why did you decide to rebrand now?
Imagine for the past 50-something years, we've had the same name, and I think we're in a completely new century and we need to rebrand and to look fresh for our customers and our clients.
Why was it decided on Fly Namibia?
Again, it's about staying relevant. Yes. That's the most important thing for us as an airline or as a company. Yes. We want to stay relevant to our clients and our future clients.
Do you think travelers locally and abroad will embrace this new change?
Well, that is our hope. It's any company's hope that with a rebrand, with a new name, with a new vision and new strategy, our clients will embrace us.
And with that, my next question, except for the name change, will there be other significant changes that can be seen within the company?
Yes, more so for the clients than just internally. Internally, we also have internal strategies that we're changing so that our staff foresee the changes with the clients. Externally, it's really about new routes, new destinations for us as a company so that we're able to fulfill the needs of our clients.
You, within Namibia, no longer in the picture, there's many routes that will be left unserviced. Will Fly Namibia pick them up, both nationally and internationally?
Well, let's say this. For us, it's really about trying to focus more on our domestic routes and making sure that our nation's needs are provided. And then once we have established our domestic routes, and then we can try and look at our national routes and then, of course, international routes. But right now, we want to grow our national domestic routes.
And with that
sorry, not national, but our domestic routes.
With that being said, you just also launched the Safari route.
Yes.
Tell us more about that.
The Safari route is really more about growing our tourism industry and developing our tourism industry within our borders and trying to to make it also safer for tourists, international tourists, to travel around Namibia and to give them more time within the country. That is one of the main reasons for launching the safari route.
Maya, can you tell us what does this safari route entail?
Okay. As of starting in April 2022, we'll be conducting daily flights, Windhoek, Sossusvlei, Swakop and Etosha. The schedule will provide tourists with a cost-effective and efficient way in which they can see Namibia.
Why was it decided to only launch this in April next year and not now, just before the festive season?
There's still a lot for us to do just to make sure that it runs smoothly and it is effective when we launch it. So the package is there, but it's not yet completely finalized.
Awesome.
Yeah.
The minister spoke earlier this week at your launch about the amount of travelers that have been coming to Namibia since 2015, and the travelers that came to our beautiful country was amazing, and then COVID hit.
Yes.
And I think everyone has been hard hit with COVID, but more so the tourism industry.
Yes.
And I really think this will help pick up. And I think these are amazing routes also for local travelers.
Yes, I think so too. You're very right in saying that COVID did hit the tourism industry very hard, and that is one of the main reasons why we built this package for the tourism industry to try. And remember, the tourism industry was one of our highest income generators for Namibia. So hopefully with this new package, we'll try and bring back tourism to that level.
And you also launched a bursary scheme. Tell us about that.
Since 1967, Fly West Air has always been very passionate about our staff. If you look at the bursary video that we launched, we have a few people who are talking about they started off as cleaners and now they're engineers. And they've grown through the company from cleaners to engineers with the bursary scheme that we launched. It was just never launched. It has always been there, more internally than anything. But now we want to take it a little bit more externally to launch it to the nation as well.
It's fantastic to see that a cleaner can promote him or herself in a company and better their life than staying with a company in the same position for 20 or 30 odd years.
Yes, it's really about livelihoods for us at Fly Namibia, no longer Fly West Air. It really is about enhancing each and every individual's livelihoods. And for us, it's also about you as an employee. If you want to grow, the sky's the limit here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Literally.
Literally.
Maya, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will be back shortly.
A country isn't just born, it's built. Things don't just get better, they are made better. A nation isn't run by just a few, it's fueled by the many. It is built on pride, made with purpose, driven by hope and passion. It is created by a strong sense of culture, community, collaboration, and connection. For us, it was about time, but now it's time for it to be about us. All of us, you and me. It's about community. Across Namibia and beyond, a new generation of connection. I am because we are. We are Fly Namibia.
Strike it gold and win 5,000 Namibian dollars in cash with Neo Paints. Simply buy Neo Paints products from the selected range and stand a chance to get one of 12 mystery buckets filled with gold paint. All 12 winners will each get 3 extra paint buckets equal to their purchase. One to replace the gold paint, the second to use on your project, and the third to give to a charity of their choice. One winner can score another 10,000 Namibian dollars by showing us your creative use of the golden paint. The best project wins the cash. Offer is valid from 27 September to 18 December at your favorite hardware store nationwide. Visit us at neopaints.com for more competition details and follow us on Facebook for weekly competition updates. Neo Paints, a coat of excellence.
Welcome back to Africa Good Morning. The Zambian government has set a target to launch a national satellite in the next 2 years. Master Mike Sichula in the Real Africa has this story and more. Good morning, Mike. Please take it away.
Mike, we can't seem to hear you. We're going to see if we can fix that right now.
Mike, you may continue. Sorry, Mike. I think we can't hear you. We might have lost you. Can you hear us? All right, let's just carry on.
All right, it seems that we are having technical difficulties talking to Mr. Mike Sichula. We're going to take a short break.
Season 1 of the Hunters Chill Session is coming to a close. To celebrate Hunters and the Namibian Sun, we'll be having an exclusive invite-only event at Access Lounge on the 23rd of November. You can be part of this. Stand a chance to win exclusive double tickets for you and a friend to attend the Hunters Chill Finale. WhatsApp a picture of you and your friend chilling with your favorite Hunters to 084 000 9820. Hunters, refreshes like nothing on earth. Not for persons under the age of 18. T's and C's apply.
Now, in the media world, many things can disrupt our connection. Maybe it's the weather. Let's check out the forecast up next.
Economic stories.
Absolutely, and we start off in South Africa as SA Power Company says it's the victim of sabotage. South Africa's state-owned electricity provider Eskom says it's found clear evidence of sabotage at one of its power plants. high-capacity pylons was brought down when all 8 of its support rods were cut. Claims of sabotage at Eskom's fleet of aging coal-fired plants aren't new, but the company says it's the first time it's had proof. The debt-ridden energy giant regularly implements power cuts blamed on mismanagement, but the government is now trying to clean up the company. It's not clear who's behind the sabotage, but fingers are likely to be pointed at politicians with an interest in seeing Eskom and the government fail.
Kenya's forex reserves decline as shilling hits a new low. Kenya's foreign exchange reserve fell $222 million this week as central bank released dollars into the market to buttress the local currency. A report on the financial markets released Friday evening showed the Central Bank of Kenya in the weekly update said the reserve fell from $9.9 billion, an equivalent of 5.56 months of import cover, to $8.87 billion or 5.42 months of import cover. During the period, the shilling hit its lowest level ever against the dollar, exchanging at 112.1 from 111.1 in the week during the end of 12 November. The local currency has been under pressure since the start of the month as dollars inflows from the export like tea and horticulture fell amid high demand for foreign currencies for oil, machinery and capital equipment exports. Despite the decline in the dollar reserves, the Apex Bank, however, said $8.87 billion are adequate.
U.S. companies are putting billions into building internet capacity in South Africa. The United States government and several U.S.-based internet companies are making a concerted push in South Africa's online space, including spending billions of dollars on new infrastructure. In October, Google chief executive Sundar Pichai announced a $1 billion investment to provide affordable internet access and support entrepreneurs and nonprofits in Africa over the next 5 years. Meta, formerly known as Facebook, has partnered with MTN, Orange, Vodafone, China Mobile, and the West Indian Ocean Cable Company to build one of the world's largest undersea internet cable networks. Starlink, the satellite internet arm of the American aerospace company SpaceX, has also committed to launching its services in South Africa. The U.S. government has also made a clear commitment to developing internet infrastructure in South Africa and the rest of the continent through its own investments. In 2020, the U.S. International Development Finance Corporation invested $300 million in new data centers that will support information and communications technology development in South Africa, Kenya, and new African markets.
Zimbabwe's government breaks with its own currency policy. Zimbabwe appears to be undermining its currency as it struggles with inflation. Finance Minister Mthuli Ncube has since reintroduced the Zimbabwean dollar in 2019, insisted that as much as the country's businesses are as possible must be carried out in local currency. That, he said, was necessary to break the yoke that the use of the U.S. currency has over the economy has since the Zimbabwe dollar was suspended in 2009. As the value of neighbors' currency declined, Zimbabwe's industry became uncompetitive and the economy collapsed. But in what economists say seems to be a case of admitting that the local unit has failed to win acceptance, Ncube has announced that the government workers will receive their annual bonuses this month in U.S. dollars for the first time since 2018. The measure, which will see the cash-strapped government pay out $90 million, is due to raising prices and demands from labor unions, he said.
All right, that brings us to the end of our economic news stories. Now, for a lot of people, this week is pay week, but you might want to know what your money is worth on the international market before you make that withdrawal. Check out our economic indicators up next. morning. We're going to try once more to cross over to Mike Sichula in Zambia. Mike, are you there? Sorry, Mike, can you hear us? It seems, unfortunately, we're having issues crossing over to Mr. Mike Sichula. We are, however, going to try and cross over to Botswana so we can get the news from Masejo Mohwasa. Good morning, Masejo. How are you?
Good morning to you two in studio, and good morning, Africa. It's a terrible day for connectivity, but this might be due to the weather. However, let's keep the good times rolling. In the first story from Botswana, Botswana has begun a pilot project that allows HIV patients to have their medications delivered at their doorsteps, with testing conducted in their homes at the height of COVID-19 restrictions. Is contained in a report titled Decentralized Drug Distribution in Botswana, which shows that the trial started from September 2020 to March 2021 with the support of an organization identified as FHI 360 and USAID and the Ministry of Health and Wellness. The report says FHI 60 supported the decentralization of two services in Botswana through the EPIC project, home delivery of ARV using courier service, and decentralized viral load testing through private laboratories. The report says these models were rolled out in Tewelopele wellness centers, which are community clinics. Next up in our stories for the day from Botswana, illegal ivory dealer Paul Garirai would have been condemned to a mandatory 10-year maximum jail term and a hefty fine for the elephant tusks valued over 10,000 pula that he was found in possession of. But his witty admission of guilt that saved the court's time and his mitigation circumstances compelled the Francistown Magistrates Court to temper justice with mercy by giving the 49-year-old Zimbabwean man a lesser 2-year prison sentence that has been backdated to August 2021 when he was arrested. Before he was sentenced, Garirai pleaded with the court for leniency as he said he was a sole breadwinner looking after his 3 children and his elderly mother. Last but not least, Botswana records very low number of new COVID cases. In the latest report, it is reported that we have only had 69 new positive cases. This happens as our first dose of vaccination stands at 35.9 and our first jab at 18.5. This is from the entire population of Botswana, which stands at 2.4 million. So currently, our first dose stands over 860,000 people and fully vaccinated at over 440,000 Botswana. It's worth it to note that for the first time in months, there has been no loss of life. Thank you for having me today. That's my report from Botswana.
Thank you very much, Masejo, for bringing us the news stories from Botswana. You know, if there's something we always celebrate, it is low COVID-19 numbers.
Yes.
That is truly a blessing. This is Still Africa. Good morning. See you after the break.
Have you received a loan from NASFAF? NASFAF loan is the same as any other loan. It must be paid and settled. NASFAF has a set of guidelines on how you can repay your loan and become debt-free. Therefore, it is important that you, a former beneficiary and a responsible Namibian, show your patriotism by helping pay back your loan and thus helping NASFAF become a revolving fund for the benefit of future potential students. By failing to pay back your NASFAF loan, you risk being blacklisted or having a court order against you. So arrange with the fund to pay back your loan today. For more information on how you can repay your loan, visit our website at www.nasfaf.na or visit our Facebook page or Twitter. Do the right thing and hashtag payback the money.
The COVID-19 virus spreads mainly between people in close contact with each other. It spreads most easily in crowded settings, closed spaces with poor ventilation, or through prolonged contact with an infected person. This is because, as a person infected with the COVID-19 virus breathes, talks, coughs, or sneezes, liquid particles of various sizes are expelled into the air. Larger particles are called droplets. Smaller particles are called aerosols. You can contract the virus if infected particles come into contact with your eyes, nose, or mouth. Whether you are inside or outside, always maintain a physical distance of at least 1 meter from others. When you are in an enclosed or poorly ventilated space, the virus can spread more easily. In these conditions, aerosols can remain suspended in the air or travel farther than 1 meter. When you are inside, make sure to stay at least 1 meter from others. Wear a mask. Open a window to improve ventilation. And limit your time spent in these settings. To protect yourself and others, always follow these 6 precautions.
A fabric mask acts as a barrier to prevent the spread of the virus. It must be used correctly and always combined with other measures to protect yourself and everyone else. When wearing a fabric mask, clean your hands before putting it on. Inspect the mask and do not use it if it is damaged or dirty. Cover your mouth, nose, and chin. Adjust the mask to your face, leaving no gaps on the sides. Avoid touching the mask while wearing it. Change your mask once it gets dirty or wet. To take off the mask, clean your hands first. Remove it by the straps behind the head or ears without touching the front of the mask. As you remove the mask, pull it away from your face. Clean your hands after taking off any mask. If you need to reuse a fabric mask, store it in a clean, resealable bag. Hold the mask at the elastic ends when removing it from the bag and make sure it is not dirty or wet before using it again. Wash fabric masks in soap or detergent, preferably with hot water, at least once a day. Make sure you have your own mask and do not share it with others. When wearing a mask, make sure you know how to put it on, use it, remove it, and discard it or wash it correctly. Remember that a mask alone cannot protect you. When wearing a mask, continue to adopt other measures to prevent the spread of the virus. Stay at least 1 meter away from others. Clean your hands frequently and thoroughly, and avoid touching your face and mask. Stay safe, and let's all prevent the spread of COVID-19.
Now, it's no secret that I'm an Arsenal supporter, and on the Africa Good Morning team, I can count 3 Liverpool supporters. So needless to say, peace is a little inaccessible for me today, but not all 4 goals are created the same, because if you're to ask me if I feel good that Manchester United also lost, well, absolutely. Please welcome Adi Hoka to bring us this and more sports news from the weekend.
Yes, good morning, Ashwin. Yes, it's tough to lose. It's never nice. 4-1 is a big result, and as you mentioned, Liverpool beat Arsenal by four goals to nil. That was at home. I think the big loss of the weekend was definitely Manchester United. Also 4 goals conceded, but that was to Watford, and it was 4-1, and that was not good enough for Manchester United to say they want to continue with their coach Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So what happened over the weekend was that Manchester United left. Solskjaer was on the terms already with some bad results in the past few weeks, and he was fired over the weekend. So no more Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He just signed a 3-year deal extension last year, and so they will pay him out roughly about £7.5 million. So that is a payment for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So new manager for Manchester United. That search will start now. There's some suggestions that it might be Zinedine Zidane, but he indicated overnight that he is not interested in the job, so maybe that's just speculation. But anyway, just briefly for the record, Chelsea continued to be the lot leaders. They beat Leicester City away 3-0. Liverpool beat Arsenal, like we mentioned, 4-0, and then Manchester City, they beat Everton by 3-0. So those three top clubs really stretching away, flexing their muscles. Chelsea leading by 29 points after 12 games, Man City 26 after 12 games. On to some rugby news. That's the Southern Hemisphere teams really realized what it means, how important 1 point can be. Both Australia and South Africa losing by 1 point. Firstly, it's the Springboks had a tough game at Twickenham. That's some action of that game, and the Springboks lost by 27 points to 26 in the last minute by a penalty, and also the same happened to Australia. They lost to Wales by 29 points to 28. So great wins for the European clubs. But the winners of the weekend surely was France. They beat New Zealand by 40 points to 25. They put on a marker for the 2023 World Cup that's going to be played in France, in Paris, and also the opening game of that World Cup will be France against New Zealand. So it's a good win for France mentally as well, to show that they can beat New Zealand in Paris. And also Southern African interest as well, a great win for Namibia. They played in a triangular in Stellenbosch down in the Cape, and they beat Zimbabwe over the weekend on Saturday. Impressive win for them, 41 points to 10. And so that were some of the rugby results of the weekend. On to some Formula One racing. It's a very interesting and exciting season at the moment. Just 2 races to go, and the results from the weekend was that Lewis Hamilton, he came through at the Qatar Formula One Grand Prix over the weekend. Impressive weekend for Lewis Hamilton. He was first in qualifying. He led from the start as well. He won the Grand Prix. So it's all to race for in the next 2 races. That's going to conclude the season. At the moment, Max Verstappen, that finished second, is still 8 points ahead of Lewis Hamilton. But you get 25 points for a win and 17 for second place. So it's all to race for this. The next one will be Saudi Arabia. That's the 5th of December. They take a break this weekend, the 5th of December, Saudi Arabia. And then the last one will be Abu Dhabi on the 12th of December. So it will definitely be who can win the last 2 races that will win the championship. In the constructors, Mercedes-Benz is leading by 5 points, 546 points, and Red Bull 541 points. On to some tennis news. There was some ATP tennis that was played over the weekend. It is the season final for the men's. It's a prestigious tournament. Only the top 8 seeds go through. That is Daniil Medvedev. He's from Russia. He was the top seed, was second seed behind Novak Djokovic. So he played in the final against Alexander Zverev of Germany, and it was Alexander Zverev of Germany that came through to win the final by 6-4 and 6-4. That's Novak Djokovic. He was knocked out by Alexander Zverev in the semi-final in 3 sets. So a great win for Alexander Zverev of Germany. He also won the Olympic Games last year. So he's one of the young, exciting tennis players coming up. And the first time since 2009 that both finalists were younger than 25 years old. So the new generation coming up, Alexander Zverev and Daniil Medvedev, they will probably take over from Djokovic, Nadal, and Federer with time to come now. On to some golf news to finish off. It was the season-ending tournament in the European Tour. It is the race to Dubai, very prestigious, very difficult to get into that field. And it was the Colin Morikawa of the USA that won the tournament. It was Rory McIlroy there that was also in the running in the first 3 rounds, but he finished with a 74 in the final round for a total of -12. So the winner was Colin Morikawa of the USA. He had a great final round of 66. He finished on 17 under par. So he won the DP World Tour Championship. That was the tournament's name. It was played in Dubai at the Jumeirah Club, and but it was also co-sanctioned, so to say, with the season-ending race to Dubai. So Colin Morikawa also winning that. South African interest, Dean Burmeister of South Africa, he was tied 6th on -12, but we share Dean Burmeister with Zimbabwe. He is born in Mutara, so he's a Zimbabwean-born South African. And just to finish off, that is Nelly Korda on the women's tour. She fell away a little bit in the 4th round of the CME Group Tour Championships in Florida in the USA. It was Ko Jin Young of South Korea that won the tournament on -23. Nelly Korda a little bit down in the field on -17 in 5th position. So that's all the sporting news for the weekend. Hope you had a great sporting weekend. And we talk again on Friday and preview some of the sport happening over the weekend. Have a great week, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, Ari. Next up, let's take a break and it'll be your headlines. Africa Good Morning has been streaming live from 7 a.m. Now, if you perhaps missed our top stories at the top of the hour, or if you need a recap, worry not. Here are some of the headlines. Sudan military to reinstate Prime Minister Hamdok after deal. Blinken says U.S. investing in Africa without unsustainable debt. Ethiopia's conflict, mass arrests, and ethnic profiling haunt Addis Ababa. Malawi police fired tear gas in anti-government protesters. SA Power Company says it's the victim of sabotage. The English Premier League continued with Chelsea taking maximum points and Manchester United losing 4-1 to Watford. Those have been our stories.
We thank you very much for joining us on the Monday edition of Africa Good Morning. Please visit our website. It's called One Up 2, and there you can catch all our shows. We do welcome your remarks regarding our show. You can email them to us. Our email is agm_2centsworth@nmh.com.na. Alternatively, we are on Facebook and Twitter. That's at Africa Good Morning. Please play your part in the fight against COVID-19. Wear your mask, avoid unnecessary public gatherings, and please say hello to a stranger in celebration of World Hello Day.
Absolutely. Until tomorrow, Seraja Kanaka.